What's up? Welcome to Tales Tomorrow. I'm Morrow, your storyteller for today, and with me we have some more RPG horror stories. I received a lot of email submissions, and we're definitely going to feature a lot of the story submissions onto the channel, but I do have a couple of that I want to try to get through in order to get ahead. I still got to do a stream this year, so I'm planning for the future stories, so I'm kind of racking up as many stories as I can. If you have your own story submission, feel free to email it down in the description below. I will eventually get to it, but for now, let's get to some RPG horror stories for today. Problem player love monologuing and hates democracy. Hey guys, I am back with another horror story. This one isn't as bad as the others, but it's somewhat weird. The main players in the story are me, Star as the problem player. About a year ago, I saw an LFG post on Discord for a server I'm in. I DM'd the GM and had a quick interview, after which I got invited to the game. I made a character, backstory, and all that jazz. Next week, we had a session 0.5 where the GM went over his expectations. We had a mini session. Everything was going great for the next few sessions. The party went off to fight a cult related to Star's backstory, and that's where the problem started. Whenever anyone interacted with anything from Star's backstory, they got oddly defensive. For example, I pocketed a vial of magic steroids that the cult was making. Star wasn't even around for this, and they yelled about it out of game for 3 hours. Yikes, dude, 3 hours for that? Just because somebody pocketed like magic steroids? What are magic steroids? Can we get them? I have like 8 in my strength stat, so I could use a little bit of magic steroids just to at least get it, to a 10, because I can't do anything physically impressive at all. I'm so lanky and weak and everything, dude. But either way, yelling at somebody for 3 hours, that sounds unhinged and crazy. And I hope the DM stopped it because that sounds wild. Fast forward to after we deal with the cult and we were killing their leader. Star spent 8+ minutes, yes, I timed it, monologuing about how this is a revenge for killing their family. After that, we talked to the city council about what to do with the part of the city. We had 2 options, either help or destroy the bad part of the city. Everyone but Star wanted to help, so we had to vote. Star got pissed that they didn't get their way and yelled at us out of game, till one of the players dropped out of the VC. Where's the DM doing this? Like, whenever these sort of things are happening, the DM needs to be around for this sort of stuff to stop it, to prevent it. DM is the ultimate buffer, and right now I'm kind of upset the DM is not even saying anything and not even mentioned about like trying to stop it and talk to Star out of game and stuff. It seems like the DM is just letting Star just do whatever. And listen, I get it, it's about your story and stuff, but like, you're not writing a script. The DM is setting up what's going to happen. You're just playing a character. Players have agency, and not every single character is going to agree with your character whenever you want to do something crazy or zany or whatever, what have you at this point. It just feels really strange that the player's so defensive and so on alert because suddenly it's like, oh my god, it's part of my backstory and I have players that can interact with my backstory. But instead of letting them, they're just being kind of a dickhead and just be like, how dare you affect my backstory? I had it all planned out. As if like there's a script. There is no script, unless there is a script. Did Star give DM a script? And are they following a script of some kind? Is that what's going on? For a while, we didn't have any more incidents in the game, except for the 10-minute monologue that we occasionally got from Star, because we stopped dealing with Star's backstory and moved on to the main story. Once again, where's the DM for this? Why is the DM just allowing a player to monologue for 10 minutes? Can they just be like, it's fine to have some things you say, but like, you can't just be taking up game time. This 10 minutes takes up game time that players could be playing together instead of just listening to one player talk non-stop about it. Star really sounds like the kind of player that just wants to be heard, but doesn't want to really interact with anybody else. Like a main character, main protagonist. Out of the game, however, Star would fight with anyone who disagrees with them. If you didn't think wizards were the best class in the game, they would scold you because you were wrong. If you like to play ranger, well, you were an idiot because the class sucked according to Star. You wanted to do something that wasn't rules as written, you were a horrible person for even suggesting it and not knowing niche rulings off the top of your head. Yeah, Star is the worst kind of player. The kind of player that says, oh, wizards are the best because I say so and because a bunch of Reddit posts say so and stuff. And how dare you play Ranger? Blah, Ranger is the worst because all these YouTube videos and Reddit posts say the Ranger is the worst. What are you talking about? This Star person has no idea what the f they even talking about. First of all, if somebody decides to scold you on one thing or the other about D&D, the first thing you should tell them is shut the fuck up. I would recommend saying it politely, but if it's somebody that's exactly like Star, the only response you need to have for Star is didn't ask. This person just wants to shove their opinions down everyone's throat because they think their opinion is worth every salt in the world, and it's just not true. It's just not the way. Regardless of how you feel about wizards or ranger or any part of the game at all entirely, if you're getting unsolicited scolding for no reason when it wasn't even warranted, you should tell the person to shut up. You didn't ask for it. Nobody has asked for it. It seems like they just want to shove the opinion wherever they can just because they love being heard. No, think they're the most correct person in the world. They know everything better than everyone else. One of the most insufferable type of players out there. Also, ranger doesn't even suck, not even close. Have you seen the subclasses for ranger? The last incident happened when we were fighting a boss. The boss was dealing heavy damage to all of us, but we were managing to fight it until it landed one attack on Star. So what did the optimized super amazing Giga Chad Star do? They ran away, leaving the party to die. Luckily, the barbarian landed a crit and killed the boss. Star took this opportunity to monologue at the boss from 90 feet away. I can't imagine how that's gonna go. Imagine having to monologue at somebody from 90 feet away. You know what it would basically be like? It's like this. Haha, I got you, evildoer. Finally, my family's lineage can finally move on from this event, and I can finally become the most powerful. And then the rest of the party is just standing there and be like, what is he saying? I can hear him mumbling, but what is he saying? It's just Star. Just ignore him. Which I'm pretty sure a lot of players are just doing that. They're just ignoring Star at this point. Star sounds like the most unpleasant person to be at the table and even have an in-game. Like, their character sounds obnoxious. Not even like a funny, like, quirky obnoxious where it's like, it's weird wizard. We just kind of put up with their antics kind of stuff. It just sounds like, when can we get rid of this guy again? Can we just leave him in the next town? When the GM said they were almost out of the dungeon and there was no way anyone could see or hear them, they sulked and said they would shut up because no one was to talk to me anyway. Well, at least Star is self-aware about something instead of their problem behavior. Afterwards, Star had a meltdown in the Discord server saying that no one liked them, that people ruined Star's backstory by voting, and that everyone was attacking them. We agreed to try and be nicer to Star and to leave any choice related to their backstory up to them. Mind you, their backstory takes place in a hub city of this world, and Star effectively wanted local control over the city to the point where they were trying to appoint people to the council. But was that enough? Of course not. Star demanded our votes get revoked by the city council and only theirs stay, as well as executing my character for taking the steroids that their character didn't know I took. After everyone told them that they were being freaking ridiculous, they had another tantrum and left the game. I don't think anything of value was lost that day. But they say if you listen closely, you can hear Star monologuing in the wind. What a beautiful ending. The problem player removed themselves from the situation and people can move on playing the game. Star is just complaining not because they're being picked on, because they're not being picked on. They just don't get their way, and they're upset because they don't get their way. Or how sometimes things are just not gonna go your way and you just have to roll with life, roll with the punches, as they say. But at the end of the day, if Star's gonna be acting like this and gonna act childish and immature, then you know what? Good riddance. The biggest lesson to learn from here is don't be like Star. Don't be a pretentious, unlikable character and then start complaining that you're unlikable. If you behave like a dickhead, people are gonna think you're a dickhead, not because they're trying to be mean to you or bully you, but it's because of your own actions. Be welcoming to your party, and don't spend time monologuing at every single opportunity. That time my ex tried to recreate not one, but 2 critical role characters in the same campaign. Over 5 sessions. Part 1. As the title states, this story is going to be about my ex, who was the worst player I've ever had. I used to DM for a group of friends, 5 to 6 players total, depending on if one of them had work or not. We had Warlock, Rogue, Druid, Monk, and Barbarian. None of these players were the problem. My problem player decided to start with a Barbarian. Nothing wrong with that. I explained what he needed to have prepared on his character sheet and had him roll for stats. All of this was written down and stored away where he could easily find the information. His phone. My other Barbarian player was bringing in sheets to fill out the physical copies. Upon the first session starting, there was some chaos, but that had to be expected. The first session and everyone is getting used to how the others play. Except our dear Barbarian, Discount Grog DG, who wanted nothing more than to play Grog. We had recently watched the series and he loved Grog and Percy. We're getting there. This character he played was very short-lived, as by the third session, he had already prepped a new character to switch out of Discount Grog. Popular media for D&D such as Vox Machina, Critical Role, the D&D movie, and Baldur's Gate has been a huge influence on a lot of people to want to try D&D. Because it looks really cool, and the characters they can make look really awesome. And of course people wanna, like, they see Grog and they think, oh man, I wanna make a cool barbarian as well. Grog sounds cool. The problem becomes when people just see Grog and they say, oh, I just wanna make Grog just reflavored. They see Grog and they say, oh, I wanna make Grog. Okay, what kind of character you wanna make? Brog the Barbarian. And then Brog the Barbarian is basically just a bastardized crappy version of Grog, and it's just not even its own character. It's almost like a AI generated copy pasta of a character. I remember binging through Crispy's videos, and there were a lot of videos of people making like a knockoff version of a Vox Machina character or a Critical Role character, and it's wild, man. There's nothing wrong with one to emulate a specific character in the popular media. I know a lot of barbarians out there will probably be down to mimic Kratos from God of War, because Kratos is really cool. He's ideal barbarian shape. He's barbarian shape, and people want to mimic that because they think, man, I want to have a character like Kratos. Unless it's like a bastardized copy pasta, then yeah, it's kind of becomes a problem, because there's not a thought put into it on why it's made. They just say, I want to be that, and they make it, and it's like, now what? You know? This new character was introduced with an actually kind of interesting backstory, which tied into why he was taking the place of Discount Grog. I don't remember the details, but it was something about Discount Grog killing the new character's family while raiding a town, and this character had set off to get his revenge. This character was an artificer, who I'll refer to as Discount Percy. This character was a Shatter Kai, and had his own pocket round that only he could access. This realm was completely red with 7 red moons, from which he drew his red magic energy. None of this had been discussed with me previously. He just assumed it would be approved because I was his girlfriend. I wanted to kick him from the game, but that would bring D&D to a halt entirely as we had our sessions at his mom's place. Gotta have a backup place for that sort of stuff, or just switch over to online. Online can be very easy. You could just be in any sort of like space. You just upload your maps to Foundry or Roll20 or whatever you want to use. It doesn't matter. The fact that he doesn't want to approve this sort of stuff with you ahead of time, it is kind of a problem though, so we'll see how that's gonna play out. I tried to talk to him about it after session, but he blew me off on the subject, saying it should be okay. It was not. Next session rolls around and I introduced them to an NPC of my own design, an ex-adventurer turned barkeep at Homebrew Magic Tavern Inn. Upon meeting this barkeep, he demanded free ale and proceeded to threaten her life upon her telling him no. This triggered the bar patrons to draw their weapons on him. Eventually, after the party talked him down for 10 minutes, let her go and paid a single gold piece for his ale. All she was asking for was 2 silver. Maids can't afford 2 silver. 2 silver is extremely easy. Also, don't mess with the person pouring the drinks, because other patrons are definitely not going to be happy about it. Don't ever mess with the person serving drinks or bringing the food. Customers' loyalty is pretty strong, so it only makes sense that people would defend the favored barkeep. This should have been where I said no more, but I didn't, because I was having fun with the progression of other characters. Eventually he got tired of Discount Percy and did some other really stupid thing, but that is a story for another day. For now, I have a class to get to. I'll update later. And we have a part 2 immediately that we're gonna jump into right now. That time my ex tried to recreate not 1 but 2 Critical Role characters, part 2. It's been a minute since I posted my last post, apologies for that. It's finals week for college, and things are getting a little wild for me. Oh yeah, good luck to all the students. God, I'm so glad I'm not in college anymore. I'm now a tiefling on the internet. Anyway, let's keep going. I recently got back in contact with my old group and have a lot more to tell about this guy, and another player as well apparently, but I'll wait for them to give permission to share those stories. So what happened to Discount Grog and Percy? Well, after nearly getting the entire party killed by threatening a tavern owner, he was starting to get bored of his overbearing, know-it-all artificer. This is when he came up with an idea. A terrible, awful idea. He wanted to bring back Discount Grog, but as a cyborg. Like a Warforged? Does this player have any other idea other than just Vox Machina ripoffs? There's nothing wrong if, let's say, for example, you see Percy and Grog and other characters and say, cool, I want to make a character just like Grog. But it's a whole other thing to basically be like, yoink Grog, and it's Grog but blank. It's devoid of all creativity because you're not even putting a thought into a character of how this started. You're just copying someone's notes and then tacking on some sort of a silly feature that's probably not going to work out because you didn't even think about it. The DM should have really said no by this point and said, no, listen, you already made Discount Grog, you made Discount Percy, and out of that, you're making a brand new original character with a well thought out backstory. But let's continue. Cool concept in theory, but poorly executed to the highest degree. You see, I had already come to terms with Discount Percy being his character. I was hoping for some development, like maybe getting rid of his violent tendencies. Nope, there's no hope for that. But Discount Grog is dead, I hear you saying. How can he just bring him back? The way Discount Grog has died was being shot in the head. His body was then dragged off by a mysterious homebrew monster of my own making. It should have been impossible for him to come back. This is until our dear Discount Percy revealed that he had hidden Discount Grog in his pocket dimension, where he was doing experiments on him and changing Discount Grog to serve Discount Percy. And let me guess, he didn't check with you if that's okay to do, right? Also, I got a question. As a DM, why didn't you put a stop to this? Like, not to rip on the OP or anything, but as a DM, you have the ability to say no. No is a very powerful word in D&D, especially as a DM. If you tell somebody no, the player has to abide by the rule of no, because the DM said so. You can give whatever explanation afterwards and try to encourage them in a specific direction, but knowing when to say no is very important. And I'm pretty sure a lot of this could have been avoided if you just told them no. I mean, maybe you just didn't want to make him upset and basically be like, okay, the campaign is over because you guys were playing at his place and everything, but you could always find a different venue, a public game store, a library, someplace, especially if you're in college and stuff, maybe, I don't know, at your local school, you know, some sort of a facility that can be set up, or go to somebody else's place. I don't know. There could have been other alternatives for this. I feel like a lot of this could have been avoided if you said no, but let's keep going because I want to see how this ends. Upon reintroducing this new version of Discount Grog, he abandoned Discount Percy to the Edgelord realm. I never heard the word Edgelord realm, but yeah, you know what? I like it. I'm stealing that. He still played Discount Grog as less intelligent, but also makes him speak super robotically. Not like his voice was metallic, but he would speak very monotone and pause between words. Example, well, I remember he did things to me. Is Discount Grog okay? Is Discount Grog cyborg? Oh god, my brain's all mixed up. Is Discount Grog cyborg admitting that Discount Percy touched him in a no-no zone? Is that what this is? He originally wanted to turn Discount Grog into a weird, messed up version of Bane from Batman series, but I was able to thankfully talk him down from that. Damn, I wish you were able to thankfully talk him down from all the other bad decisions. That would have been great too. I mean, hindsight 2020, but you know, still want to point it out. Let's continue. He did, however, make it to where Discount Percy could speak to, cause pain to, and command this new version of Discount Grog. He used to excuse that because Discount Percy's magic was even more powerful in his Edgelord realm. He could contact Discount Grog no matter where he was because of his modifications. This version of Discount Grog did not last long either, as I did end up leaving him due to some other things that happened outside the game. The group was enjoying my campaign, so they continued it after I left, which brings me so much joy, as I was unsure of if they were enjoying the RP heavy sessions. They were. Hopefully one day soon I can rejoin them and set things right. Oh, and yes, Discount Grog and Discount Percy did indeed stick around. Those stories though need to be told through their words, not mine. I hope we can get some sort of an update because I'm kind of like, I'm not interested in hearing stories about Discount Grog and Discount Percy, but I'm invested now. I want to see what kind of other crazy antics and shenanigans they can get into. I'm interested. I think I'm a masochist. I like reading RPG horror stories because I just like the cringe. It hurts, it pains me. And with that, that's gonna be all our stories for today. I want to thank you very much for watching, and thanks so much for being here. If you like what I do, consider subscribing to the channel and leaving a like. Also, if the RPG Horror Stories ever goes down, or if you want to submit your own personalized horror story, email is down in the description below. I'll see you again in more Tales tomorrow. Bye-bye.